I actually did not know a single bit of English.
Really?
Yeah. My parents were immigrants there. Graduate high school, go to college, get married, get a good job, have kids, right? That's the expectation.
Hello and welcome back to The Magical Lane. I'm your host, Maggie G. And today, we are going to have a very special guest, one of my greatest friends, Omar Lopez. He is a 19-year-old who is just full of ambition and confidence and drive and this curiosity to discover who he truly is at his core and what he has to offer for this world. And that is why he's pursuing many things like Arizona Fashion Week, his fitness careers. He is deeply into spirituality and learning more about the conscious mind and how to tap into that side of himself and his power and, again, all that he has to offer to this world. So I'm super excited for this conversation today, for you to get to know and meet Omar. And today, we are going to be diving into who this man is and just what he wants out of life and how he's getting there. So, Omar, as a child, what do you think were your biggest adversities growing up? What did you face? What did you deal with?
Okay.
We're getting straight into it.
No, I love it. I was never really a popular kid, per se. I always struggled with social standings ever since, probably middle school, all the way up until, leaving high school.
Yeah.
When I first entered school, kindergarten, I actually did not know a single bit of English.
Really?
Yeah. My parents were immigrants there. They themselves didn't know how to speak English, so I kind of just learned Spanish from the get-go.
Yeah.
And so, right from the beginning, I had to be just quick to learn. I had to just see my resources, get help from people that were bilingual in class. And the school I used to go to, it was kind of like a charter school with public school elements to it.
Okay.
So you had to wear a uniform for Monday through Thursday, but then Friday's the fun day. You can wear whatever.
Casual Friday.
Right. And I thought, it was such a great school. It was called Inspire Academy.
Okay.
And so I stayed there until third grade. And that's when it shut down. I had to, leave all my friends and move over to, a new charter school called Painted Rock Academy.
Okay.
I really struggled getting used to it. Not only was it extremely rigorous, extremely fast-paced, extremely difficult, but it was really small, really, really, really small. My 8th grade class probably had 20 people.
Yeah.
Everybody pretty much knew each other from like 5th grade up. And so I struggled kind of gaining traction in just like being, around a certain friend group.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I can relate with everybody in my circle.
Yeah.
And because there was such a small circle for me to be exposed to, it wasn't like I had a lot of minds that I could connect to.
True.
Yeah,
that would be hard.
And so from there, after 8th grade, I told my mom, like, I do not want to continue in a charter school. I do not want to wear a uniform. And so I went to, a public high school. And for that same reason of being in such a small group and, not having the opportunity to explore my fashion, to explore my identity, I didn't really know who I was. And so entering high school, I felt like I was really just a mimic. I try to copy popular kids.
Yeah.
I try to just do things that I thought were cool. And it just took me down a path where I was not liked. I didn't really know who I was. I was beat up. I was pretty low in the ranking all throughout high school, and then COVID showed up, and a lot of people complain about COVID. A lot of people complain about what they went through. But to me, having that, whole year to kind of just be to myself, not care about what, your friends think at school, not care about grades or what, nothing, right? It kind of just gave me the opportunity to do whatever I feel like doing instead of do what I've been told to do for 8 hours straight.
Yeah.
And that was really my journey into spirituality, my journey into self-improvement, my journey into the gym. That's, around 2020. I think I was like 15, 14.
That's so crazy.
That's when I started, doing Wim Hof breathing.
Wim Hof.
I started picking up sports and just like working on myself to a level that I had never, done before.
I love that because I get admired a lot because people are like, oh, when I was 22, like, I was doing dumb shit all the time. Like, I wish I had your mindset. And then you're over here at 19 and having the same mindset and pursuing that. Would you say that a lot of people in your life have been that way? Or are you kind of one to be on your own and you're the only one going down this path of chasing your dreams? And what would you say?
Absolutely. I mean, my family has never really been supportive of my dreams. I was raised in a very Catholic traditional household where, you graduate high school, go to college, get married, get a good job, have kids, right? That's the expectation for my family members.
Safe route.
Right. And, even in high school, even when I was in theater, I'd say these things like, I'm going to be a self-made millionaire. I'm going to be an actor in Hollywood one day.
Yeah.
And everybody would be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, literally.
Like, shut the fuck up, right? I think if I was to say the one phrase that I've been told the most my whole life is just like, get out of your head, get out of the clouds. My mom, every single day, you need to plant your feet on the ground. What are you doing? Right?
That's really interesting because I feel like one thing I talk about the most is you need to like get out of your head so you can be present. It sounds like what they're trying to do is for you to get in your head and like stay on your thoughts and just like stay in one path. Like that does the opposite.
Right.
What you need in life, what you actually want.
Yeah.
Crazy. But I love that you're able to still overcome and go on your own path because it's similar for me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that my family is not supportive. They're like, it's that we love you, we're proud of you, but we're not really doing much for themselves. Like they're on a completely different path. So they're supportive. It's just like they're doing their own thing, which is great. And I love it. It's interesting because I don't have anyone in my family to relate to, but I'm grateful for all the friends that I've met.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's a universal part of being, a creative or just stepping out of the bounds of what, your family has been doing.
Breaking generational
curses.
curses.
Breaking generational curses.
Yes. Yeah. That's the best. Would you say that you're definitely the one in your family to be breaking those generational things?
Yes.
What age do you think you realized you were that person?
Man, probably at 17. 17 was when I was sure about myself.
It's amazing.
that at 17 I decided to leave high school.
Yeah.
Go on my own. And it's definitely been a growth journey. I wasn't as confident or as disciplined or I definitely had a lot of character flaws at that age.
As we all do.
But I think it's just a growing process that you just have to allow yourself to flow through.
Yeah. What So I know you've mentioned a lot just from like our personal conversations about having mentors.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got your first mentor, and like how did that come about, and what impact did that make on the journey you're on now?
Yeah. That's a great question. That's actually a tough question. Man. So, I like to use the term mentor for anybody that gives me advice, for anybody that, gives me a hand and gives me knowledge.
Yeah.
There have been times when you've mentored me, you've given me advice, right? But I think one of the biggest, actually, I have a perfect answer. Okay, so, back when I was younger, I didn't have a car,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a way to transportation. My circle was really like high school people,
Yeah.
and so going back to that 2020 era, right? I didn't have the ability to go out there and find mentors in real life, find mentors in person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I turned to YouTube. That was, I think, the first step in trying to find somebody older than me and just take their advice. And I started watching people like Teaching Men's Fashion, How to Beast, Wim Hof, Lex Fridman.
Yeah.
I think one of the most impactful mentors for just my journey and in my character was Jay Shetty.
I love
Jay Shetty.
We talk about him a lot on here.
Yeah, I remember watching the Will Smith podcast, and that really impacted me on like just love us in general, loving yourself, loving the people around you, having patience with, with where life takes you.
Yeah.
And it took me a while for me to actually find a mentor that was guiding me every step of the way. But now, the two most important people that I credit, the three most important people that I credit for being here has been RJ, who not only mentored me in, film and how to act, become a better actor and how to edit, but just organization. He really just taught me like, you got to be organized when you're doing big projects like this. My mentor Shaw, he's really been a big inspiration for me just as a man. He's one of those people that goes out of his way to give you advice.
Yeah.
He's one of those people that he's not gonna sugarcoat anything. He's gonna give you the truth. It doesn't matter if you cry. It doesn't matter if it hurts. He's gonna tell you how it is and teach you how to be better. Mm-hmm. And then Brian, Brian Vina.
Yeah,
I think
Brian's great.
Man, he's just such a fantastic man. And the qualities that I admire of all of them is their ability to be coachable, to not have an ego in the way. All these people have taken advice from somebody else.
Yeah.
And they've been in my shoes. They've been in that position where they had a mentor themselves. They had a group of people that taught them. And they were willing to take that information and put it into action.
Yeah. Would you say that you struggled at all to receive help or ask for help?
Yes. Yes. When I went back to high school for my senior year, I ghosted everybody from high school. I kind of just focused on myself, started hitting the gym every single day. That's when I was doing the 75 hard challenge.
Mm-hmm. Did you complete it?
No.
Me either.
But I feel like at that stage of my life, the biggest issue with me was just having a huge ego. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was the shit. I felt like I knew everything. I felt like I was untouchable. Yeah. And that lost me a lot of opportunities that I regret I lost,
No regrets.
But at the end of the day, it's a grown curve.
Yeah.
You're not going to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to be, you're not going to be the hero from the start. You have to go through that hero's journey.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest lessons I could give, people is just don't have an ego, don't have a barrier of what or who you can learn from.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you can learn from somebody that's 10 years younger than you. You can learn from somebody that's 50 years older than you.
Yeah.
You can learn from a woman, a man,
Yeah.
Asian guy, Australian guy. Like, you
Yeah.
can really learn from anybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are. And realizing that is going to take you farther than anything else.
That's exactly why we have you here today. Because I love, that I'm surrounded by people younger than me and then people also, 10 years older than me. Which leads me into my next question. How do you balance the idea of, living out your childhood? I know you're not in your 20s yet, but just living out those teenage years, but also becoming an entrepreneur, getting into the business, and really diving into this self-transformation journey. How do you balance that without, I'd say, rushing too much, but also, staying present and enjoying these young years that you have?
Yeah. I don't think you balance it. I think you find the fun in the work.
Okay, I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
I've partied.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was,
We still part.
we were talking about how we were sneaking into clubs before we were even of age. And,
Yeah.
I've had that experience already. I've experimented with alcohol, right?
Mhm.
And recently, actually, one thing I kind of started feeling, or just, I don't know if it was some mentality switch. I honestly can't, I don't really know where it came from. But these past couple of months, I kind of just stopped feeling joy from going to parties,
Yeah.
from drinking, from smoking.
Yeah.
It stopped being important to me. And I find that the most joy that I get is when I'm able to dedicate something that I'm passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm able to sit down and edit a whole video for, 2 nights in a row, not
Yeah.
sleep, put myself under that pressure. It gives you such a dopamine release when you're able to accomplish such a big feat, such a challenge.
Yeah.
And that's what I refer as you honestly just gotta find the fun in doing the hard stuff, and being disciplined, in doing the things that are not just gonna help you as a person, but the people around you.
Yeah.
And so for me, it really hasn't been a balance. I just really chose the path of I guess my highest self. Right? I gave up college. I gave up. I gave up fun. I gave up friends. I gave up parties, and I don't regret it at all.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't miss it. It's not important to me.
I agree. I did the same. I went to college and I was like, nope.
Yeah.
I partied while I was there, and then I was like, this really is just not
Yeah.
for me. Any of it, the partying, the school, the homework.
Yeah.
So what would be your best advice for somebody in that position who is young and looking to, go the entrepreneur route? What is your best advice for those feelings of feeling like you're missing out, or you're not, really living your 20s because you're not out partying and doing dumb shit? What's your best advice?
Find what excites you.
Yeah.
Find what excites you. I still go to parties.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona Fashion Week, it's literally
It's
2
all a
weeks
party.
of parties. But I think the key difference is the people that are attending it, the people that are at the parties, right?
Yeah.
It's not about the place, it's about the people.
Mm-hmm.
And so just surround yourself with people that are actually motivating you and on that same path, because they're going to keep you from going astray.
True.
Right? There's been a lot of times where my own friends have, reached out and helped me get back to who I was.
Real friends.
Right? I've completely fallen off and just lost hope in myself.
Yeah.
Right? I considered joining the military
Yeah.
because I felt like that was the only way to, get out of a rut.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, if movies excite you, don't listen to these gurus that say like movies are bad. It's a waste of time to do that.
Yeah.
If video games is your thing, go play video games.
Yeah.
If reading is your thing, read every day. Like, people think it's so black and white,
Mm-hmm.
but the truth is like you have so much time in a day, you can balance it,
Yeah.
right? You don't have to work 10 hours a day straight, no breaks. Break it apart. Work for 30 minutes at a time. Then go play a game of Fortnite. Then, get back to it. Then go on a walk,
Yeah.
right? It's just, people think you got to be all or nothing. And the truth is like, you can have fun and still succeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's been a big realization that I've had this year, is just because I have taken a step back from a lot this year, and I've just been traveling. I was in Europe and focusing a lot on myself and just connecting with nature. And for that whole time in Europe, I was questioning, I'm like, man, do I even want to do modeling? Do I even want to go into this? Like, what is these deeper desires of doing it? Because, whenever you're on the spiritual path, you want to find the answers to everything, why you do everything. So I'm like, why do I have such a desire to go to LA and get into acting and get into modeling? And I was just really questioning that. I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't, and maybe I'm just an attention seeker and all this bullshit. But then I got back from Europe, and as soon as I got back into it, I was like, I just have a passion for it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I'm allowed to have this spiritual path and be my free self and be fully immersed in nature, but also fully immersed in this crazy entertainment world, because I just fucking love it. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I love that you say that and that you're finding that for yourself, because I think it's super important. I definitely, for the longest time, thought that everything was black and white and that it had to be one way or the other. And since, going on this whole spiritual journey, I realized that there's endless possibilities for everything. And if you just open your mind to that, you can realize how much you really can balance and handle in your life in so many different aspects. And it's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask, I feel like we kind of already covered it, but what mentality, because I know we were talking last night about you choosing that path of either the victor or the victim.
Right.
What has been your biggest mindset or mentality to keep you on that victor path?
That's a tough.
Because I know for me and just the people around me, even people in my family, I've watched them go down that victim path. And I learned from a young age that it was either you make excuses to stay that way, or you make excuses to get better. And I chose to get better.
Yeah.
So I want to know what mindsets led you there and keep you there.
I think it's just a bunch of self-responsibility.
Yeah.
You can blame your family, your circumstances, your health condition, right? And I'm not saying, everybody can do everything.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody that's gone through a car accident, maybe lost a leg, they can't, they can't play football. Maybe they lost an opportunity. Maybe they tried at a goal and they failed. But at the end of the day, you really just have to live with it and know that you're responsible for your life. You're the captain of your sail, and you just have to take everything. It doesn't matter if somebody came in, fucked you over. You have to take responsibility for that and say, I allowed it to happen. I allowed it to happen, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you are the one that's making the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You are the one that chooses your friend. You chose that job that you're working at that you hate.
Yeah.
It's all up to you. And I think a lot of people are just scared of taking that jump. I used to be scared of leaving my job.
Yeah.
I used to be scared of moving out. I used to be scared of going out, flying on a one-way trip with no destination.
Yeah.
And after I did it, I learned way more about myself than I ever did staying in that comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, I'm 19, you're 21. Even if we fuck up, it's 22, I'm sorry.
You're good.
Even if everything goes, even if our bank account is at zero, we're living on the streets.
We'll be good.
We'll be good. Honestly, we have time to figure it out. We don't have kids to provide over. We don't have, we don't
outside responsibilities as much.
Right, as much, right?
Yeah.
And obviously it changes for certain people.
Yeah.
And, that's where you have to sit alone and just reflect and see what's your priorities, what's your goals. How far are you able to risk something?
Yeah.
Right? And, that's up to you to figure out.
Yeah. What would you say taking all these risks has really given to you?
Courage, bravery.
Yeah.
I've gained a huge amount of confidence when I speak. I used to stutter. I hope everybody at home watching this, I used to have a lisp, a horrible lisp. I used to go to speech therapy every day.
Yeah.
I used to stutter a bunch. I would be very kind of low spoken.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that was because, what I experienced through my school experience.
Yeah.
And then partially it was I didn't feel like I was good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I had this very kind of imposter syndrome where I felt like what I was given I didn't deserve.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something, obviously I still deal with, but I think overall it's just that kind of confidence to say, you know what, I might be hated for this, I might fuck up, I might have to start from zero, but at the end of the day, I've gained the courage to know that, even though I've failed before, and I felt like, I wasn't going to get out of the mess that I was in,
Mm-hmm.
I worked through it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that just gives you kind of a more go attitude than somebody that hasn't experienced failure and is trying to stay afloat.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that you have to hit rock bottom sometimes.
Yes.
And it's necessary, and I feel like people fear that a lot, but if you just let go and surrender to all of the experiences, then beautiful things will come. And I also, even starting this podcast, I was scared with the speaking.
Yeah.
And when I think about it, it happens, but I slur my S's.
Yeah.
We're both gonna start slurring our S's.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But no, I couldn't let that stop me because I'm I have so much to say, and growing up, I've always had so much to say, but never the confidence to say it.
Yeah.
And I was just had so much anger in me as a child, but nobody ever would know. It was a deep anger because I wouldn't speak up for myself, and I wouldn't speak my mind, and I wouldn't allow myself to believe that I had value to offer and the things that I was saying mattered. And that's a big reason why I even started this, and it's only been a year, so I'm still overcoming that in many ways.
Yeah.
But you gotta I feel like since I've started this, my speaking has gotten a lot better.
Definitely.
And just the confidence around it. So I feel like for those of y'all that are scared to start something, like I've said in previous episodes, the hardest part is starting. And all of these things that you're worried about, you're oh, I can't speak right, or oh, I stutter, or I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It will get better. It will get better, and it will change, and it will grow, and so will you.
And I really admire that you've not only taken the step to start something, but you've stayed consistent through it.
Yeah.
You've been uploading every single week. You've been doing your thing. You haven't given up, and that's hard. That's insurmountably more difficult than to start, your first.
Yeah, true. Second hardest part is consistency.
Yeah.
No, I this year has been testing me for sure. I took 2 weeks off because I needed it, and I'm grateful that I allowed myself to do that. And that's another important thing is if you need a break, take it.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are afraid to allow themselves to rest. They're like, oh, I'm gonna miss out. Oh, I'm not doing enough. Shut up, you're doing fine. So I think that's super important. And it just it eases your mind and your entire body and your nervous system if you just allow yourself to be all right, I need this break. I'm gonna take it. I don't really care what happens.
Yeah.
And we'll see where that goes. And
Yeah.
I feel since doing that, all of my episodes after the break have been a lot better, in my opinion. Just a lot more clear thoughts and back to that positive mindset. Because I feel like I was going down, then I allowed myself to even out for a second, and now I'm going back up.
Yeah.
So that feels good.
Yeah.
But my next question was, have you always had big dreams? But I feel like you've already answered that. You're a big dreamer.
I guess so.
And I love to see it. Through all of this, if you could pick just one practice that you have, whether it's the breath work, meditation, or journaling, which one has been the most impactful in your journey and keeping you level-headed?
I think cold showers.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I love that answer. That's so real.
I feel like it's something so simple,
Yeah.
but to me, I've gone to a point where if I don't take a cold shower in the morning, I'm gonna feel groggy the entire day. I'm not gonna feel the same, right? And it's so simple, yet the main reason why it's so impactful to your health is because your body circulates blood right from the get-go, right from you wake up.
Yeah.
And not only does that keep you healthier, keep your longevity going, but the energy spike that you get from having that blood flow in your brain, the creativity that you get afterwards, it's unlike anything else. And at least to me, it kind of relaxes me. It keeps me level-headed afterwards.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like that initial shock, but then the beauty after the storm.
It's also really good for your skin,
Yeah.
your immune system,
Yeah.
and your hair. Cold
Yes.
showers makes your hair really shiny.
Yes.
No, I love that. I was not expecting you to say that, but that's so real.
Yeah.
It's that just goes to show everybody does have their own routines and things. Because I was expecting you to say breath work or something, but the cold shower is that's real. I need to get back into that.
Yeah.
I definitely fell off. But I used to do that back when I was actually had a gym membership. I need to get that again too. But I would go work out for 2 hours, get in the sauna for 30 minutes, and then come home and take a cold shower. And it would just be great.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And that was how I would start my day every single day.
No, definitely.
It's a beautiful thing. Do your cold showers and cold plunges.
Cold plunge, yeah. One thing I love to do is I'll go into the gym and hit the steam room for maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Raise it up to 190 degrees or something like that. And right after, I'll just jump into the cold pool.
Yeah.
Swim there for a couple minutes and then jump back into the heat. And I'll kind of switch over on and off 3 times.
Okay.
20 minutes there, 10 minutes in the pool, 20 minutes. And that change, that temperature change not only is beneficial to your mental clarity and to your skin, but it actually levels your hormones.
Okay.
Serotonin if you're a woman and testosterone if you're a man. I feel I think I got it from Luke Belmont. And I feel when I was taking that seriously and doing it every single day, I was seeing progress in the gym never before.
Yeah.
And so definitely that's also something I'd recommend. It's just that change between temperatures is really good for your health. And I'm not talking like if you have serious health conditions, obviously talk to your doctor or something.
Yeah, we're
but
not doctors here.
if you're just a young cat, like no issues with you, just I'd suggest picking up cold showers in the steam room,
Yeah.
and having that kind of switch between
Yeah.
hot and cold.
That's interesting because I know there's like a lot of debate on whether that's actually good
Yeah.
for you or not.
Yeah.
Because there is a thing called hypothermia.
Yeah.
So I'm like, have you ever experienced any negative or like anything close to hypothermia? No. That's good. That's good.
I mean, I could die in the next 10 years, but hey, at least
We all could.
these next 10 years, I've been feeling great since I've been
Yeah.
doing that. So
Yeah. I love that.
and plus, like just being in the steam room, sweating all that out, and then washing it with that cold water, which closes your pores.
Yeah.
Like I've never had any issues with acne, and I don't even use skincare products. Like I wasn't using skincare products until like maybe
Yeah.
a month ago when I partnered with Raymond.
Yep.
Yeah.
Partnerships are good.
Raymond, go check Maggie's link or whatever.
Yeah. We'll put his link and discount code in the bio.
Yeah.
Get shop some skincare. It's Korean skincare. It's great. I know you just listened to my previous episode about embracing your beginnings.
Yes.
What is your take on starting fresh?
I think it's necessary.
Yeah.
I think it's necessary. I feel like sometimes you go up a mountain just to realize you went up the wrong mountain.
Yeah.
And you have to hike down from that summit just to do it all over again.
Mm-hmm.
But that's completely fine. In my opinion, that's even better than just hiking that first mountain from the get-go.
Yeah.
Because every single experience that you've been through, every single failure, every single success, that's going to shape you into who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to give you the correct knowledge to hike the next mountain, right? You wouldn't want to start with Antarctica if you've never hiked a mountain before, right? You want to hike with, Tatoa Peak or Camelback Mountain.
Yeah.
Start, getting used to that. Then go to a bigger mountain. Like, you don't have to just take it all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And if you feel like you really have gone down the wrong path and you need to just start fresh, cut everything off, go into your own head and just figure out exactly what you want to do, that's completely fine. I've done it multiple times. You've done it multiple times.
Yeah.
It's nothing to be ashamed about.
Mm-hmm.
It's a part of life.
Yeah. I want to dive into that. What are all the things that you have started and then you climbed back down the
Okay.
mountain? What does that look like for you?
I think the biggest one was my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Back when I was, so a year ago, right? I bought a camera.
Mm-hmm.
I saved up a bunch of money and bought a camera. I just took it serious and I started, making gym content, fitness content. And I had a plan to just continue on making videos consistently every week.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, 2 huge roadblocks came up, right? My first photo shoot that I did with the camera, I was kind of just doing it on my own. I didn't even have a tripod. And I went to Sprouts, and I was kind of just using, shelves, putting it on top, asking a worker, hey, real quick, can you help me out with something? I'd put the camera where I want it to be, and then I'd be like, just put it there, just press that button, don't move at all. I'll go set up, and then you can just click the button multiple times. And that same day after the shoot, I think it was the last photo too, I put it in a tortilla stack. And the tortillas slipped, the camera absolutely crashed, and my investment of $700 just went down the drain.
Damn.
And so I started working on my iPhone XR.
Yeah.
And I started, posting content on there. And I probably had made 2 fully edited videos before my phone broke. And I wasn't tripping, my phone broke, I'll go get it fixed. And I refused to go to one of like those professional name brand stores. I went to, a guy that, like those local shops that your friend recommends you, that's cheaper. And I get my phone back, and they kind of tell me that they accidentally wiped everything from the phone. And not only did I lose all the videos that I had already prepared, I lost like literally all the content, all the pictures, all the screenshots, all my notes. I literally lost everything, and I had to start from scratch. And so from then, I kind of felt sad and guilty that, I uploaded 2 videos, and I knew I was going to stay consistent with it, but, I couldn't. I had to start over. I had to start back and start saving. And now I'm finally getting back into it. I finally bought a camera again. I finally am at the position where like that fire in me has been lit up again, and I want to go and make videos again. But I think something that, an example that more people can probably relate to has been switching jobs. I worked at a car wash for probably 9 months. 40-hour work weeks, fresh out of high school. I had never worked that much in my life. And apart from being a stressful job, and working so much, I was outside. And so for that whole period, I felt like I almost lost myself in that journey, in that path. I felt like I was chasing to be the manager and leveling up in the company, too much to the point where like I was letting go of my dreams. I was, leaving that job and going back home, and like I didn't want to hit the gym because I was tired. I didn't feel motivated because I was surrounded by the same people that, to be honest, weren't that beneficial to my growth. And it just took so much time out of my week that I felt like I ended up pushing away my dreams and goals for this route that I really was only doing it because I felt like it's what my parents needed me to do. It's what society was telling me to do. And I remember we were at that like going away party or something like that. And I quit my job. I told you, like I quit my job. I was, I was scared. I had no job to lean on. I kind of just knew that I was not going to succeed. And I started fresh. I went out, started applying to jobs. I ended up going back because I realized, okay, I need a little bit of financial stability. I'll work just part-time for now until I can, get another job. And being in that flame of just like, you really got to figure it out, got me to a point where now I'm doing door-to-door sales. Now I'm doing life insurance sales. And I found something that not only excites me and keeps me, keeps me happy, but it's something that doesn't take me away from my dreams, my aspirations, the people that I love. And, if that's you, if you feel like that, if you feel like the universe is calling you to start over, leave that job, leave that relationship, leave that, leave your hometown, do it. Do it. Like, really. Really.
You have to trust in that. I quit my job last year in July because I was working as a server at the country club, and they're closed for the summer because it's too hot to play golf. So I was going to be out of work for like a month or two regardless. And then I was supposed to go back. And I just told myself, I'm like, look, I already know, this is like a couple months before the summer, and I'm like, I already know I'm going to be out of work. So if I'm going to have to like struggle and get my shit together for those 2 months, why not just keep doing it? And I just never went back. And I feel like that's definitely one of like the biggest challenges as young creatives that we face is finding the balance between, all right, I gotta get my financials right and I gotta make sure I'm good,
but I also want to have energy to like pursue my own passions because I'm only young once, and I definitely do not regret quitting my job whatsoever.
Yeah.
I will take the struggle over that any day. And I'm not struggling as much as I was anymore, which is great. I'm grateful for that. And I feel like just putting myself in that position and just kind of saying like, all right, I'm going all in. Universe, it is up to you. I feel like that's when all the blessings really start to come and they find you. And going back to Jay Shetty, one of my favorite things that he always says is if you protect your passions will protect you. And that phrase right there is truly what made me quit my job.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's real, let's see what happens. And here we are, and I've been traveling all year, and I feel like I know if I still had a job, I would not have been able to freely do whatever I wanted to do this year. And I probably would not be moving to LA the end of this month, and it's been great. It's been great. So I'm glad that you have been able to find that trust and still trying to find that balance. And even though you had to go back to the car wash, I feel like you quitting is what led you to kind of realize, like, okay, this isn't as bad, and it isn't holding me back as much as I thought, because you kind of took away that pressure of, okay, it's all or nothing. And you were just like, all right, I'm going to quit. And then you realize, okay, maybe I do need a little. It is helpful. It is beneficial in some ways. So I'm glad that you could find that balance and go back to part-time and really stand on what you want and still make time to pursue passions.
Yeah.
It's great. I love to see it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I want to dive into what you're working on now.
Now.
Yeah, Mr. New album coming out. Let's hear about it.
Okay, great. Cool. Well, man, where do I start? I feel like I'm just like,
You're doing a lot.
yeah. Cool. So back in September, I got a new job doing door-to-door sales. I left Arizona for a while, went to Texas, stayed over there for a month. And at first I wasn't as successful as I thought, but slowly I've been, allowing myself to learn, changing my pitch. I've become better in my enunciation, in my word choice. And so I'm doing that right now. I'm still doing that. I'm just taking a 2-month break just because most of the people that work there, they've been working their whole year.
Yeah.
And so they want to take, Thanksgiving, November, December, New Year's off. And I feel like door-to-door was a really spiritual experience. It tested my skin, how tough it was.
Yeah.
I feel like it grew my emotional intelligence because I swear, like, there's times I genuinely wanted to punch somebody in the face at the door.
I believe that. Did you ever get the door slammed in your face?
Oh man, countless times. And so I did that for a while and gave up really everything just to focus on my financial stability. And what I gained from that has been not only new perspectives, now that I've gone to Detroit, Lansing, Michigan, I've gone to Lubbock, Texas, I've gone to Louisiana and New Orleans. I've been able to see different parts of the world and been able to experience different people, different environments. And I feel like that really was the base for me to prepare myself as a man and prepare the discipline that I needed and the self-discipline, most importantly, because sales, you don't really have a manager telling you what to do. It's like up to you, they just drop you off. If you want to slack off, be on your phone the whole 8 hours, you can do that, but you're not going to make money. It's commission based only. So I felt like I needed that to build that self-discipline. And now that I've gained all of these skills, all these experiences, what I'm working on and going full on to build is my clothing brand Fetty, which is one of my main focuses right now. I'm currently, talking with manufacturers to see what clothing, materials I want to use. I'm talking to somebody in Dubai where hopefully next year I'll be, going over there to promote my clothing brand.
Okay,
Dubai, yeah. And my whole vision with this clothing brand is to merge technology with clothes, right? In different ways and in unique ways. Find functionality and futuristic, futuristic sides to be implemented into your everyday wear.
Yeah.
And that's been really, really, really hard. I'll say that. It's definitely made me go out there and look for more resources, watch videos, talk with designers, and I'm blessed to be here in Arizona Fashion Week where I'm surrounded by
True.
the designers to ask, what to do, how to succeed. And, you mentioned the album. For the longest time, I've been surrounded by music. My two neighbors, Seth and Hunter, they, I used to go over to their houses, and they were like 2 or 3 years older than me. So they were kind of already on it, doing their own thing. And I'd just go in there, shadow them, see how they would make music on FL Studio, see how they would write lyrics, see how their brain worked. And at the time, I kind of, stepped away because I myself felt too insecure to be around them. I felt like, these were two Goliaths, older people. I'm just like a kid. I kind of lowered myself, and I built a barrier where I kind of pushed myself out of that opportunity from taking it seriously. But it was always something that I felt a passion for, right? I've learned how to play the piano. I have electric guitars that I'm currently learning how to do. Yeah. Yeah, let's make a band. I've one of my close friends, I call him a brother.
Yeah.
He actually did music for a while, and performed in stages, performed in Florida. And when I had the opportunity to live with him, we were just freestyling every day, writing music. He'd be doing his own thing and releasing songs, so I'd kind of see the process of how you apply to Spotify, Apple Music. And, it was nothing that I actually took and ran with it. But I felt like I was always around it in some shape or form.
Yeah.
And so recently, I spent a lot of time with not only creatives and artists, but musicians.
Yeah.
And to me, creating an album isn't just about, getting views. It isn't just about putting out an album just to say I put out an album. For me, it's I want to make it into a story of my life and kind of recap all the important events that I've been through into one, form of expression
Yeah.
that is completely different than film,
Yeah.
completely different than content creation, completely different than podcasting.
Everything you're doing. Yeah.
It's a whole beast on its own, and I feel like the reason I'm pushing myself to do it is not only to put out the words and the messages that I want to write into that song, but it's also to just dive deeper in that creative field, dive deeper in learning the arts.
Yeah. I feel like you're gonna make a very poetic album.
Yeah.
Because I know you like to postpone.
Yeah. I've been working on that as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you've ever watched Dacre Montgomery. No. DKMH. I believe that's his podcast name on Spotify.
Okay.
Dacre was a huge inspiration for me, not only in fashion, but as an actor. I don't know if you guys know who Dacre Montgomery is, but he's Billy from Stranger Things.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He might be a huge, douchebag in the show, but man, the actor is such a phenomenal, well-spoken, masculine figure that I love and admire.
Yeah.
And he actually did something similar where he, reached out to producers, composers, and he essentially made a whole album, or like, he calls it podcast, but I kind of feel like it's more of like an EP than anything.
Okay.
And essentially merged his poetry with sound effects, with a music score that a producer
That's
made.
what
Right?
I want to do.
Yeah.
Because I love poetry and I love music, and that's what I'm excited for when you're
Yeah.
because I'm going to be in the whole world
Yeah.
of music, in the studios,
Yeah.
learning all the technicalities of everything. And I'm also working on writing a poetry book.
Nice.
I don't know if I told you that.
I know you did.
I'm working on writing a poetry book. I'm kind of just like, I'm not one to be like, okay, we're going to make an outline. This is going to be the deadline. We're going to have it out by this. I'm more of like I'm going to write poems when I feel like I want to write poems.
Right.
And eventually I'll have enough for a book.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm the same way.
Because like somebody told me that they had a friend that just wrote one poem every single day. That's 365 poems. That's a long book.
Yeah.
So I've kind of been keeping that mentality with it, and it's definitely helped a lot because I hate putting pressure on myself in that way whenever I'm starting something new,
Yeah.
and I am just now learning how to like write in a way that feels good and is inspiring, but also like is heavy a lot too. So that has been a good journey, and I love it. But I wanna make music. I'm gonna have an album coming out eventually.
Nice.
Yes.
We should collab. Make a song together.
Let's do it.
But yeah, it like you said, I love how you kind of put it in your own way, because it's kind of like the gym, right? If you're new to it, you don't just want to go in, start pushing 275 pounds,
Yeah.
working out every single day, because there's only one direction. It's either injury,
Mhm.
loss of passion, or burnout.
Mhm.
And so I think same thing. It's with music, for example. If you've never done it before, if it's not it's not like your natural thing to do, I don't think it's healthy to just try to write a poem every single day, write a song every day. I think you just gotta feel your emotions first and take it as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the writing will definitely come. Because I know, like, people like Eminem, they write everything down. I watched a video and he was just saying, like, he is constantly, like, writing out lyrics, but 90% of what he writes down is just to keep him in that state flow and in that creative process. And he doesn't actually use half of what he writes down. It's just whenever he is ready to record, he's already been in that flow state the entire time, so it just comes out and boom, he's got a new song. Yeah. So I love it, because for me, I feel like another big reason as to why I'd like to take things slow is I'm only 22. I want to be doing this shit for my entire life.
Yeah.
So if I'm trying to rush everything now, then like, what am I going to do 20 years from now? And like, of course, new passions are going to come, and I don't know what I'm going to be doing 20 years from now, but I do know that, like, for example, like this podcast and poetry, like, if I release one poetry book, I can release another.
Yeah.
So, like, I want to keep that going, and I feel like right now that's just, like, my foundation building time. That's kind of what I've been telling myself all year. Like, this is just time to build the foundation and build something solid, and I think the most important thing around the foundation is within. not necessarily the external things. Like, yes, I'm starting things and I'm getting things off the ground, but I feel like the biggest part of my foundation is me,
Yeah.
and just like allowing myself to do that and have that space and trusting in myself to start things and be consistent with those and just see where they go. Yeah.
I love that quality over quantity.
Yes.
One of the things that, one of the new adventures or projects I'm starting is my journey into the life insurance field.
Seems like so many people around me are doing that.
I don't know if you know, are you friends with Joshua? Yeah, so I joined Joshua's team,
Very good things.
starting, that ball with educating myself and going through that. And one thing I realized was, entering a field where there's a lot of rules, a lot of regulation, a lot of things you got to be, weary about, because you could potentially, lose your license at any moment if you make an error. You could be sued millions of dollars. With one mistake, has been to just really take it slow, be patient with yourself, and I've always been a huge advocate of health. Back in my junior year, I wrote my senior year. I wrote my senior paper on Big Pharma, the corruption of Big Pharma. I've always been passionate of that whole field of expertise. And to me, entering in a field like that, where not only am I going against companies that really don't provide any value for people except for death check, and partnering with a company that actually gives you living benefits, actually gives you education, actually treats you like a regular person. It's really made an impact to the priority that I've made to speak up about health, speak up about a healthy lifestyle and just education as a whole. And a lot of people go into financial services because you can make great money out there. My dad, the reason I went into it is because my dad, he actually suffered through a kidney transplant. And so I remember back when I was like 12 years old, around that, I don't remember exactly how old I was, but my dad had to take off work for 6 months and had to recover from a kidney transplant. And not only that, for the previous 3 months or so, he had been spending 3 hours a day after work getting his blood drained because his kidney was failing. And so it was either like he dies or he gets a transplant. And so I saw the struggle that my family went through, trying to cover the bills, trying to feed us, trying to pay for gas, trying to take us to school. And to me, I want to be able to help people that are going through that. Where if your dad, if your mom is not able to provide for you, if not able to work for 6 months, I want to be helpful in some way, shape, or form. Because at the end of the day, like right now, my parents probably would have lost their home. They probably would have lost their car. We would be homeless if it wasn't for, just the kindness of people. That's literally what we thrived off of for 6 months. It was just kindness of people paying our rent, And that's something I've urged the audience to do, and everybody that's watching this, is to put health as the number one priority for yourself, and to always keep a prepared plan to adapt if there's any health issues with yourself. Because at the end of the day, It doesn't matter how rich you are. You know, Steve Jobs died from cancer.
Yeah.
He had millions of dollars. So
Yeah, it's real.
mhm.
Yeah. No, I'm like super big on preventative care because my mom has had a lot of health issues
Yeah.
and she's still recovering from that. And a lot of people in my family are struggling with health issues, and I'm just like, it's crazy because I'm like, I can see what caused it, and it's just like a lifetime of bad choices and unhealed emotions and trapped emotions, and you can't always just be like, that's why.
Yeah.
Because like obviously that is deep in there if it's gotten to the point where it's causing them to have diseases.
Yes.
So like that takes time, and so I think that's been my biggest struggle is accepting that it's gonna take time, and I feel like that's why it's super important for me to be on that very like preventative side of things, because we can prevent all of it.
Yeah.
Literally any health disease you can prevent, and in most cases, unless you're born with it, then that's a different story. But I think it's super important to like focus on your health, and the biggest thing is what you're eating. Like that's what causes most diseases and inflammation, and there's even studies out now that people are realizing that your diet and gut health is what's causing Alzheimer's and memory loss, and
Yeah.
you know, all these people who are in their 70s and plus right now who can't remember anything. It's the poor choices that they made throughout their entire lifetime. And it's sad to see, but it's also great motivation to not live that way.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of times people fall into that hole just because they don't have the right education.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important what you're doing. You know, you're speaking about meditation. You're speaking about, you know, fruit, diet, fasting.
Yeah.
You're doing that yourself, and I feel like, you know, I'm a firm believer that one person can make a difference. You know, you can impact your neighbor, your friend, and then they'll impact somebody.
Yeah.
And I feel like if just one person from this episode actually takes the time to go out and do their research, actually takes the time to change their life,
Yeah.
you can change millions of people just from that one person.
Yeah.
And that's something I want everybody to know. It's like, you matter. Like, there's billions of people but you matter. Your decisions matter. What you do, your energy. You know, if you walk in a room and you're happy, you're gonna change the temperature of the room. And so never underestimate your power. Never underestimate what you can do for people. Never underestimate the amount of power that you can do to change the world.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the moment we all realize that as a society, that's when we're finally going to see interstellar travel be a commonplace thing. That's when we're finally going to see science take off on an exponential level. That's when we're finally going to see the end of war and the end of
People go within.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, I love that. One of my favorite things that people continuously tell me, just like in this fashion environment, is that being around me is just like a breath of fresh air.
yeah.
And I love that. And somebody just said that to me like 2 nights ago. They're like, Maggie, your energy's so calming. And sometimes I forget like that is enough to offer. And because like for the longest time I used to come into these events feeling like, okay, what can I do for these people in this room? Who can I be? Like, what is my purpose here? And now I'm kind of recognizing that, like, I'm just here to calm these people down in many ways. And, like, I'm still showing up for myself and, like, doing what I need to do. But what I offer is just some peaceful lives. And I think a lot of people and myself don't recognize the value in that all the time. Because, like, you know, these events are stressful, and people forget to breathe and take care of themselves. So I'm glad that I can be that zen moment for some people.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that literally are on the brink of you know, giving up,
Yeah.
on the brink of leaving Earth because they feel like they can't, they feel like they don't have love anymore.
Yeah.
And just that alone, giving somebody the time, the attention, the positive energy literally can save lives.
Yeah.
Literally can save lives.
Yeah.
I've seen it before. So that's, you're absolutely on. You absolutely know it.
It's powerful. I love
Yeah.
it. Well, as you all know, I like to leave you all with many questions to go journal about and dive deeper into yourself. So, Omar, what is your question for our audience today around anything that we've talked about? Your question.
Okay. Ask yourself, if you died today, would you be happy with your life and the way you've been living it? And if it's not, change. Yeah, that's it.
I love it. Well, yay! Thank you, Omar.
Thank you
for
so
being on
much.
here. I hope y'all enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed Omar. Where can people find you?
My Instagram handle is @therealomar with 2 R's and an underscore at the end. All my links are there for my YouTube, my Snap, my TikTok. But yeah, my Instagram's gonna be the best, your best bet.
And I'll drop that in the link below in case you missed it. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, go follow Omar. Follow me on Instagram. Give it a rate. Give it a review. Leave those 5 stars. You're only helping the world. So share this with your friends. And share it with people that you love the most. And I'll see you next Thursday. Peace.